He makes this analogy, right, that really just hit home the feeling of the moment. So what happens is that this giant creeper, right, snatches him and holds him above its head in its mandibles. These giant. If you ever seen Pinsir from Pokemon, the mandibles on top of his head, that's what mandibles are. These big things that chomp on things, chomp on prey usually to then eat. Where it describes it has a pair of feeding arms within its mandibles, its maw or whatever it says. Those are to then grab what has been snatched by the mandibles to bring into the mouth. It's a feature very common in bugs, actually. You get that kind of insectoid description with a segmented body, a pair of legs to each segment, and sharp claws for feet. That's not a horse. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That is a giant freaking bug that is longer than he could possibly see and as wide as he is tall. That is a huge mamma jamma. Okay? But what happens is that he gets clenched by these mandibles. And at the end of the mandibles, they're actually more finger-like, where it's like normal-sized human fingers that clamp onto him and are holding him. And it doesn't eat him. It goes on to then just scurry for so long he ends up nodding off at some point, or he gets close to it. The matter of fact is that it is hours this thing is running with Mickey, not eating him, not killing him, not placing him in some sort of sack to then digest. It is odd. And he even notes on how it's odd, but the way Ashton really decided to show the feeling was through an old memory of Mickey's that I think it's very universally known as an experience, or like experienced. He says at that moment, and this is right when he's released back out into the wild, so the bug or the creeper picks him up, carries him for hours out of the tunnel system, throws him back out right next to his colony, and just goes away, leaves him be. And if you have something in mind, this might be what he describes. At that moment, I suddenly remember being 9 years old in my grandmother's country house back on Midgard. It was a sunny spring morning, and I'd caught a spider in my bedroom. I scooped him up in my cupped hands and trapped him, ran down the stairs out the front door, sharp little feet scrambling around and around in my palms. I crouched down in front of the garden, put my hands near the ground, and opened my fingers as he scuttled away. I felt like a benevolent god. Through the hole in the wall, I could see the snow-dusted bulge of our main dome no more than a couple kilometers away. I'm the spider, and that thing in the tunnel just set me down in the garden. Holy shit. It's such a good analogy because not only is it a one-to-one experience, it's an experience that is taking something so fantastical as a giant bug carrying a person, relating it to the direct opposite, a person carrying a bug, laying it down into their homeland, the colony and the garden, but also it's describing to you about the world that not every planet's all covered in ice, and it's relating to the reader on such a deep level that I'm pretty sure everyone's done that at some point, or if you haven't and you're one of the people who only kill bugs, you get what they're talking about through the difference in your experience and what they describe. A benevolent god. It sounds so grandiose, but when you are so much powerful than something else and you decide to help it anyway, I can only describe that as a feeling of a benevolent god. That is such a good description of what that must have felt like for Mickey as a fictional character. But what that must have felt like for him in that moment to be dropped off by this giant bug. It's a very, I loved that so much.